Well, today's project is absolutely useless, but totally fun. Don't you love projects like that? Here's what I'm trying to figure out. I've got this locomotive that I made the outer shell and put the innards together from some kit parts. And I want to try and incorporate a warning bell. Now this is about 1/8 scale. I'll put my coffee cup here so you get an idea about scale. It's about 1/8 scale, and it's got a small horn, but it doesn't have a warning bell. In locomotives, when they're operating around the yard and around crew and things like that, it would be pretty obnoxious to be blasting everyone with the horn all the time. So they have a warning bell that keeps everyone aware of the movement of the locomotive. Kind of like, I don't know if you've ever been nearly run over by a Prius or some other electric car in a parking lot. I think those vehicles should have a warning bell as well, but that's another topic. Anyway, I'd love to incorporate a bell, and a lot of hobbyists will use a digital recording of a bell with a digital sound system, but those just don't really appeal to me for some reason. I can always tell the difference in sound. And so I want to incorporate a real bell, but I just don't think there's any room for it. You can see in here, I'll take the lid off, and you can see there's just no room at all in here or underneath for any sort of a bell. But on the riding car, on this flat car, you can see that I've got a box that I made, a cargo box that has the seat on it. There is plenty of room inside this box. So I think that's where we'll start. Okay? So I hope you can join me. Here are the essentials for this project. First, I have a 12-volt DC motor into a gearbox, and the shaft here spins at around 100 RPM. Found this online. This I found at the local hardware store. I got some miscellaneous parts here and a piece of spring steel that's part of a screen door roller. That's the only spring steel that I could find there. And this item here, kind of crazy, but it's like a Potter bell. It's an alarm bell that you would use on a fire alarm at a industrial or commercial location, not at home. And this is runs on 120 volts AC, but I don't care about that. I just want the bell. So we're also going to need some scraps of wood and, some odds and ends, nuts and bolts and little things like that. So let's get started. Can't wait. Hey, are you ready to give this a whirl and see if it even works? All right, I'm going to try and hold everything with my hand because nothing is buttoned down at all. I'm going to try to get the right distance and to keep my fingers out of the way of that little spinning bracket. So let's make sure this is working. Very good. And now we need to kind of slide that in so that this little guy slaps the end of the spring steel. So let's see here. I'll clamp it in there. That's exactly what we're looking for, and I'm sure the neighbors think that I've lost it at this point. Great, so now let's move on to the next step and see if we can get some of the setup semi-permanent. The vibrations that you can hear coming from this motor certainly resonate through all this lumber. I don't know that that will make a big difference, but I have an idea of making a wooden bracket for this or a metal bracket, but cushioning it with a little extra piece of exercise mat that I've got rolled up on this shelf. So I'll try that as well. This is the mounting bracket for the bell. I'll try and tip this up here. Here's our little striker mounted on a couple of pieces of plywood screwed to the back. We really didn't need all the electronics in this, but it was a handy mounting bracket. And then this is our 12-volt motor, our gearbox, and it's strapped in with a piece of brass and kind of cushioned a little bit with a piece of exercise mat. And then there was that little wire holder that I have screwed and pinched onto the shaft to kind of hold it. So let's see if this thing works. I won't screw it in for now, but we'll just try it. Woohoo! All right. Next, I got to get it mounted in the train, and that's another project. So stick with me here. Well, this is actually the next morning. It got so windy yesterday that I really couldn't film anything here in the garage, so I decided to wait until this morning. So here we have all these components mounted inside of this cargo box where the seat sits on it. So here you can see our bell, and here's the motor and gearbox, and this is the little paddle that spins around and flips the piece of spring steel that strikes the bell. I installed a toggle switch, on-off switch, that protrudes outside of the box, small 7.5 amp fuse, and a compartment for the 12-volt battery. And these connections just pop off so that I can put it on a charger when I get home. And I decided to use terminals on the side of the box because I may want to install more of a fancy pants air horn in here as well down the road. So rather than keying just directly off the battery, I installed 2 terminals there. And let's see what else. Oh, well, when the chair fits on, let's see if I can grab that here. As it turned out, when this chair fits on there, it's such a tight fit that it really muffled the bell quite a bit. So what I decided to do was drill some holes through the side of the cabinet and put a little cover on the outside so that some of the sound will actually come out of the side of the cabinet. Okay? So, and here you can see a view of the toggle switch on the outside. So should we give it a ring? Let's do it. By the way, Rube Goldberg would be thrilled with this setup here. I think I may have mentioned before that one option for this would have been to use an electronic timing circuit that would create the pulses, but I decided to go old school mechanical. All right, let's take a listen and see how this sounds. Well, hey, thanks for watching. I had a lot of fun. Hope you did too.